Good evening. I'm called the Public Power Hour to order. And let me just say welcome. I love seeing everybody. This is great, exciting. Let me kind of lay some ground rules for folks. Most people haven't seen you before. So let me just kind of tell you about what this is about and what's different. This is not a city council meeting. We will not be voting on anything tonight. This is nothing but an informal listening. There is no directors here. The only folks here is J.D. McCauley, our human resource, who's taken, when folks come down, we'll take their name into the record, and Jamie Paul, our city clerk, who will be taking minutes. This is an opportunity for you to share with us. Each person, we have four folks on the docket. We'd like you to keep it within 5 minutes. That way it gives us opportunity to ask you questions. And again, we're here to gather information. We are tracking this on my mayor website. So you can go to the city Facebook page, and there's a link to the mayor website, and on that is where we'll be tracking. So if you bring up an item that we are needing to proceed with or look into, that's one way you can do that, okay? So and this is to give us good things. This is to tell us bad things. This is to promote things. So Public Power Hour. So with that being said, I'm going to ask Ms. Charity Hodges if she would come up. And Charity, if you don't mind, if you would just list your first, last name, and address just for the record, please.
Okay, my name is Charity Hodges, and I live at 1910 Green Forest Drive.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All yours.
Okay, so good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members, and staff. My name is Charity Hodges, and like I said, I live in the Knollwood subdivision on Green Forest Drive. I'm speaking to you today about the traffic dangers in my neighborhood and ask that immediate action be taken to install speed tables to make road conditions safer. The speed limit on our road is 25 miles per hour. Every single day I see people driving way above the speed limit, putting not only my own family at risk, but my neighbors' families at risk as well. With the new construction well underway at the end of Green Forest Drive, the traffic will increase substantially, as well as the need for traffic calming measures. My husband has had to stop cars in the road to ask them to, and I quote, "slow down because you're putting our children in danger," end quote. I've seen a man on his bike almost get hit by a car. Our neighbors are constantly complaining about all the traffic issues we are experiencing. I saw a little kid on his bike almost get hit by a car just a couple weeks ago. Not surprisingly, as I'm writing down my thoughts that I'm now sharing with you, 6 cars have driven by, and every single one of them could have been written for a citation for speeding well over the 25 mile per hour speed limit. And did you know that if a pedestrian is hit by a vehicle traveling at just 25 miles or 20 miles per hour, there's a 1 in 10 chance of survival? If a pedestrian is hit by a vehicle traveling at 30 miles per hour, only 5 in 10 will survive. Now, let's say a car was traveling 40 miles per hour and hits a pedestrian. Only 1 out of every 10 pedestrians hit by a vehicle traveling at only 40 miles per hour will survive. Truly, as speed increases, the risk of injury and death increases. Source, Vision Zero from Cincinnati. I understand that the issue of installing speed tables has been brought up before, only to be set aside because of a fear of a slowed down emergency response time. According to the U.S. Department of Transportation's Federal Highway Administration in Austin, Texas, they found that speed cushions, which is a type of speed table, to have only a minimal, if any, impact on emergency response times with a less than a 1-second delay experienced by most emergency vehicles. Now, I have need of a quick emergency response time in my own family. My son has 5 major heart defects, and he is at a high risk for emergency situation. Heaven forbid anything would happen to my son. But if it does, I want the EMTs to arrive quickly at my house. His heart conditions and the risk associated with it, though, are not what scares me on a day-to-day basis. What scares me most are the numerous speeding cars driving down the streets of our neighborhood. This is a real threat that exists to him when he rides his bike, takes a walk, or rides his scooter to the greenway. There are no sidewalks in my neighborhood, so he has no option but to take the street. Every day, hundreds of cars speed through our neighborhood. Every day, our neighbors walk their dogs, take a bike ride, or walk to and from the greenway. Every day, there's a real threat of someone getting seriously injured or killed. In case you aren't aware, there's a huge difference in speed bumps and speed humps. A speed table is a modified version of the speed hump. It has a flatter top surface and is even longer in length. According to Sino Concept, a manufacturer of road safety equipment, a speed table is very effective as it reduces traffic and congestion while also protecting the response time of emergency vehicles more than a speed bump. I am confident that we can find an appropriately designed types of speed table, because there are different types, to use in my neighborhood that will not inhibit our first responders from doing their job well and in a timely manner. We are also a neighborhood that people use to cut through to the Paul Knox Middle School and North Augusta High School. Because of this, we are a high-traffic neighborhood. According to the Public Works Director of Ventura County, California, and I quote, "With cut-through traffic, you can imagine a scenario from planning perspective from 50 years ago. A neighborhood was designed and constructed, and the world around it grew up and created intersections that may not have existed when the neighborhood was there. Some people want to avoid those intersections because it potentially delays their process. Cut-through traffic is the path of the least resistance for motorists. Some folks decide to use the residential street to make that commute, so they avoid the intersection because there may be a 60-second delay because of a traffic signal," end quote. Was stated that speed humps sometimes reduce cut-through traffic, and it's a tool to address the issue. I'm pleading with you to be open-minded, and please pick this issue back up and install speed tables in our neighborhood before someone gets seriously injured or killed. Foot traffic, as well as cars traveling the roads in my neighborhood, are only going to increase in the months to come. Thank you for your time.
Well, Jared, let me just say, you share very compelling information, and to let you know, there's a gentleman up here who has spoken to us as far as on his street, on West Avenue, East Avenue, about that as well. So as we talked, I think through the email, we did have a study session on it. I would say it was pretty much a regurgitation of something that was done previously council. And we really, quite frankly, I would say, have not readdressed it again. But, depending on what council's saying, I do think there are programs that other communities have put in place. And they do it by neighborhoods, and there's so many people have to vote on it. So, I think there's merit for us to address it again. I don't know what anyone else thinks about it, but there's no doubt that is something, we could look into again.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you very
Thank you.
much. I appreciate it. Yes, ma'am. That was very well done.
One thing I would note.
Yeah, go ahead.
With the construction going on, those are probably normally the people that are speeding. They don't live there. I see it in my own neighborhood. The residents drive the speed limit. It's usually the people under construction. Well, I'm just saying from what I see in my neighborhood. I don't know about your neighborhood. But again, if somebody's going to speed, the speed hump's just going to slow them down. They're going to speed right back up and then slam on the brakes. I don't know, but I have seen, and hopefully it will get better as the construction fizzles out. But I've seen that in a lot of neighborhoods that are being developed. Is generally the construction people. I still see it in my neighborhood all the time, and it's generally those guys. The residents for the most part. There's one or two, but most, I would say, a majority of the residents in my neighborhood do the speed limit. But yeah, there's always going to be some that are just like you say.
May I speak to that? So we've lived in the neighborhood for 5 years. We're a military family, and it's actually been ongoing for a while before the construction started. But I think with the construction happening, I think it's going to get worse because there's going to be a lot more traffic. So, and with the cut-through traffic, it's been happening for a few years. So I do think part of it is our neighbors, honestly. But that's my neighborhood.
You're very good, Charity. We appreciate it. Okay. Thank you very much. I think Mr. Burns Newsom is up there. If you want to come down here, sir, I need you to state your name and address for the record as well.
Hey everyone, it's a pleasure to speak with you today. My name is Burns Newsom. I live at 162 Springwood Drive in Knollwood. I very much appreciate Charity's intentions, but I'm here to oppose the prospect of speed bumps in Knollwood. We're all familiar with speed bumps and speed tables. As Mr. Presnell mentioned, you approach a speed bump, you slow down, you go over it, and you return to the speed that you would otherwise be driving. And so if you have a long stretch of road in Norwood, there are two large roads that you would need that are, I think, the best candidates for speed tables. That's Green Forest and White Pine. Together, they're about 5,800 feet long. Now, the Federal Highway Administration recommends that if you want to put down speed tables, you put them down every 300 to 500 feet. So, in our neighborhood, that would be 10 to 20 speed tables. It also estimates that the average cost is going to be somewhere between $2,500 and $8,000 per speed table. That's a massive range of $30,000 to $155,000. And I don't know what kind of speed tables would go in place. I certainly do not oppose the council in any way looking into it. I think it's totally fair to look into this. But if we're putting in 15 speed tables at, just take the middle price at a little over $5,000 each, that's $80,000. And I have to wonder who will be paying for this. There are 200 houses in Norwood. That's $400 per house. Maybe the residents of Norwood really want that. I don't. And we don't have a neighborhood association. There's no one, so far as I know, who could make me pay aside from the city. Is this something that the city wants to use taxpayer funds for? I do disagree with Charity when she says that this is a high traffic neighborhood. It is true that people will occasionally cut through to get to the middle and high schools. But listen, I have two kids. I have a 3-year-old and a 10-month-old. I take them on walks literally every day. It's how I get them to nap. And I honestly don't see ridiculous traffic. I see standard human neighborhood traffic. And maybe it's because I've lived in heavier traffic neighborhoods than this, but the reality is that there's a trade-off between safety and cost. There's a reason why the speed limit on Main Street is not 3, And I wish that we had sidewalks. That would be great. And I wish that the construction workers would slow down because they do go too fast. I mean, there's no question about it. But we are not a high-traffic neighborhood. The average home prices in Norwood are $325,000 according to Zillow. That's $100,000 more than the average home in North Augusta, according to Zillow. If we get taxpayer funds to pay for this, how could the city say no to any other neighborhood that requests speed tables? I feel like if the city is going to be paying for speed bumps, it needs to be in abnormal situations, and this is not that.
Well, Burns, again, very compelling argument, but again, tonight, all we're doing, so what I'm hearing is that there are folks who are interested in speed tables and people who aren't, which is great. So what's going to happen is if we end up doing a study session, and depending on that study session, if it does progress into some type of ordinance from the city, then the great thing about that is there will be 2 readings, and that's when everyone will be able to voice their concerns again. So thank you, Burns, for that. I really appreciate your time and caring enough to come down here. That's what this is all about. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, how about Miss Michelle Douglas? Come on down, young lady. Hey.
I'm Michelle Douglas. I live at 101 Cascade Drive. I support everything charity stands for.
You're not here to talk about that.
But what I mainly wanted to address was the issue of litter around North Augusta. 5 Notch Road looks like a trash dump sometimes. The Kroger parking lot, awful trash, blowing everywhere. And as you know, we sit on the Savannah River watershed. I know all that stuff probably gets washed down into brick ponds. It looks bad. It's bad for the environment. And what I wanted to know was if there's something in place to address the litter issue? And if not, would the city support initiating a community awareness campaign or something to address the litter around town?
Okay, couple things. You know, we, of course, we have our departments that goes around and picks up trash. So you're sharing something that's dear to our hearts here on council is, have you familiar with our different community trash bash weekends? So basically, every September, the Georgia Carolina game, we do a contest with the city of Augusta for the trash bash. And we literally are picking up trash, on this example, all on the river and all that. But we have also had a community cleanup out there on Carsville. So one of the things I've been wanting to do is have a community pickup quarterly, pick an area of the town. And we have had a list of students and individuals that have expressed interest in that. So if that is something you would work with me on, I need somebody to help me spearhead that. And that's what I think is the way we need to do that, is pick areas of the neighborhood, pick a Saturday for 3 or 4 hours and do that. Is that something you think sounds good?
For sure, yeah.
Okay.
One more question. So how would trash that's being discarded by construction workers be addressed? For
Well,
instance,
the
in our
law
neighborhood?
is that construction, we do not take that trash. That is required by law to be picked up by the construction workers.
Okay.
And then if that is not being done at a particular house, we will go by and put a notice on there.
Okay.
We've had a couple situations on your street, on East Avenue, where Jim lives, and that is a process. But a lot of people, and actually our folks here at the city do a wonderful job of telling developers just that. So if there are people who are doing that, who are commercial contracts developers, they know better, and they're doing it against the law.
Okay. Who would
So
I address
there's-
that to then?
If you are seeing that,
Yes, absolutely.
Landon is our code enforcement, but it also can go through James, so, I'll get you a contact.
Okay, all
That
right.
sound good?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Michelle.
right, thank you for your
Appreciate you
time.
caring, yes, ma'am. All right, Mr. Steve, you've been so patient. You get the final piece. Steve, say your name and address for the record, please, sir.
My name is Steve Dubay. My address is 1543 Stevens Creek, but I also own a townhome in Summit Cummins Court. The reason why I'm here is it's a new subject that's come around. And it's not just here in North Augusta, it's all over the country. And that is STR, short-term rentals. Now, I have a rental, and several other people do, but we do long-term leases. We have a credit check, we have a credit check, and of course, a criminal background check, and to make sure that our place is as good as it can be. Now, there are owners, and you can see them all up there, and we've had quite a few problems. Main one is you have a unit or a couple of units or 3 or 4, and they're coming in and there is no guidance. They go through Airbnbs. They can stay 3, 4 days. There's no policy to these. The police have been over at our place 5 times. I've sat with the police chief. Planning and Development is looking at this heavily, and so is the city of Aiken. Aiken is going to implement their rules next month, coming up. But it's a growing headache, and there is crime involved. And I would recommend that you probably talk with the police department, and you'll find out exactly what's going on.
Steve had come to the office and talked to him about this, and I suggested I want him to come to the public power so y'all could hear it. And I told Steve, and again, I am totally, what I'm about to say, I don't believe, maybe y'all know, I don't know if that we have any kind of ordinance on file for any short-term issues like Airbnbs. This is the first time it's ever been brought to our attention. So, that's why I wanted him to come here in front of all of y'all, and didn't know if you got any feedback. I don't think we have anything on the record.
How do we know who are short-term rentals? How would we know that?
That is correct. That is one part of the problem. What has happened, like in the city of Aiken, it's easy to see. I'm in real estate. I'm over there, and I have people, and I'm not against short-term rentals, but you've got to govern them so that there's no drug infestation, there's no wild parties, you're not disturbing the quality of life. That's what's happened in our neighborhood. The quality of life. You got people that are retired, and now it's getting that we have to call the police.
You got good people retired.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And working people,
So-
take that back.
So this is in the Summit?
Yes.
Because I know where a couple of them live up there.
You know where Helen is.
Okay,
And this just
I mean, that-
started, but
yeah.
it started all over the country. Aiken has has spoken with folks in Texas, and how do you write this ordinance? Typically, it's going to be, they're going to need a license. And if there's a complaint, they can lose their license. Or the intent is, I'm not sure. I'm just at this point right now, just informing you that this is coming about.
I think it's a valid concern and probably something we need to look into. I don't, y'all.
I'm just gonna throw something.
Yeah.
I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with you, Steve, but we're gonna start telling people what they can and can't do with their private property. That might be a Kelly question. And here's the other
Well,
thing.
we're not gonna
If-
decide tonight.
Well, if we implement something,
Yeah, we had that study session.
you're gonna lose a lot of master's rentals, because that also is short-term.
That's exactly
So
what Aiken
it's something
said.
that, like,
Yeah.
you know, you were saying, I don't know how you write it up, whether it's a
Mr.
licensing thing, but it's, I don't know, it's, I'm,
Mr. Parity has been working closely with the city of Aiken, and they're right, they're saying, we have masters also, and rentals, and how do you write an ordinance, and, you know, everyone has a right. As you
And
say.
Aiken is doing that.
But-
You said Aiken has passed theirs, or they're going
They're
through the
in the
process?
process, Myra,
I think I read that too.
yes, Mullins. They're, and, in fact, they were even on the television, that's how I found out about it.
Okay.
It's a serious concern, as much as it is here.
Yeah.
We
Steve,
can't hide away
yeah,
from it.
I think that's what this is about. I think it's something we definitely need to look into. So we will talk to administration and staff about that and see what that looks like. And as if and when we move in that direction of beginning to look into it, we'll keep you informed. Because we'll have, we do study sessions. So when we get to that point, if that's a direction, but I think it's a valid concern.
And I recommend that you probably talk with police chief.
Oh, yeah, well, that'll be part of the, that would be all part of the study
You're
session. yeah.
absolutely right. Everybody has a right. Well,
Yeah.
let's do it correctly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Steve, thank you for what you do, sir. Really appreciate it. All right, those are the 4 people who had contacted us and let us know. And we have our regular city council meeting at 6 o'clock. So I shouldn't do this, but is there anybody did not let us know that has something that they need to say to us in 2 minutes? For the public power hour in 2 minutes. All right, if not, then we'll close out the public power hour and we will be back at 6 to start our regular city council meeting. Thank you all for coming, appreciate it. Good evening. I'd like to call the City of North Augusta special call city council meeting for January the 23rd, 2023 to order. Welcome. It's great to see everybody. Thank you for being here. You are welcome to join me in prayer. Dear God, as we begin a new year, we ask your continued guidance over this council as we strive to make the best decisions for North Augusta in 2023. We ask you to help us to listen to each other's perspective, to respect concerns from our citizens as we strive to honor you in our role as elected officials. Amen. And if you are able to stand, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll have a roll call starting from my left.
Eric Presnell.
David McGee.
Pat Carpenter.
Britton Williams.
Bob Brooks.
Jennifer McCauley.
Kevin Toole.
Okay, item 4, approval of the minutes. Are there any corrections, deletions, or additions to the regular city council meeting minutes of December the 19th, 2022, or the study session minutes of January the 9th, 2023? Hearing none, they stand approved as distributed. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask council to stand up and come sit down. I'm going to ask Mr. Leroy Kyler if you would come on down, sir, if you want to bring your family, if they're with you. This is the fun part. Come on down, sir. How are you? I'm doing good. Good to see you. You're in a quarter. You're a quarter employee of the quarter that time too. Yeah. You're good. Y'all come on up. Leroy, tell us who you got with you.
This is my wife, Yolanda.
Speak in the microphone so they're
This is
watching you on TV.
Okay, this is
Everybody's
my wife,
25,000
Yolanda. That's my son, Christopher, and my daughter, Lakia.
Okay, welcome. Good to have you with us. Let me tell you about this young man. Leroy has been a trades worker in the Streets and Drains Department, and you officially retired January 3rd, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 26 years. Okay, that's what I call dedicated employment. Thank you, sir. In addition to his responsibilities for constructing, installing, and maintaining street signage, Leroy has been invaluable in the area of electrical maintenance and repair for street lights and traffic signals. Leroy has also been the go-to man for anything that does not fit into the standard defined duties of streets and drains, often performing this work independently with little oversight or direction. So my question is, who's going to do this now that you're retired? Okay. Leroy's a person that once he understands what needs to be done, he could usually figure out a way to get it done. And that is awesome. That is a great trait. Leroy was exemplary in his keeping his workplace vehicles and tools in a clean and organized condition like they were his own. And I bet he keeps the house clean too, right? Leroy will be hard to replace. His service to the city and its residents is greatly appreciated. And Leroy, we've got a plaque here for you, sir. And it says, presented to Leroy Kyler in appreciation for your dedication service, December the 24th, 1997 to January the 3rd, 2023, from Mayor and City Council, City of North Augusta, South Carolina, this day, January 23rd, 2023. Leroy, thank you for your service. Thank you for your commitment. You've made this community better, and we thank you, Lord. We thank you. Anything you'd like to say, sir?
Oh, I like the city of North Augusta for giving me a chance to be an employee for the city. You know, and that's it.
We're going to use that on marketing, JD. I like that. I like with JD McCauley. Okay. All right, let's give him a round of applause. All right, thank you, Leroy. Woo. Thank you. Congratulations. Hey, good to see you. How you doing? Good to see you. I'll see you before. Nice to see you, man. Good to see you. Okay, new business, number one is just going to be, number 6 and 7, won't be real long. Basically, item 6, we're required every year to do the jury box. So the 2023 municipal jury box contains the names of all registered voters and names of individuals with a South Carolina driver's license in our jurisdiction. And I would like to ask council for a motion to approve the 2003 jury box. Ms. Carpenter first. Do I have a second? All right, Mr. Brooks. All in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay. Oh, they're there. Okay. All right. Item 7 is boards and commissions. So, let me kind of tell you about this. We are going to be reappointing 3 folks, and then we have 2 new appointments. So we will be reappointing on the Building Code Board of Appeals, Mr. Alan Coots, and also Mr. William Palladino. Then on the Planning Commission, we will be reappointing Dr. Christine Crawford for another term. She's a current chair of the Planning Commission. And then we've got 2 new appointments. The first one is the Municipal Election Commission. And I want to ask Ms. Althea Dunbar, is she here? Where's Ms. Dunbar? Ms. Dunbar, stand up, please, ma'am. Now, Ms. Dunbar she will be replacing Michaela Knox, who passed away this past year. And if you know, we have been asking citizens to submit our citizen involvement form. And Ms. Dunbar, last year in February, she sent this to me stating that she would be interested. Let me tell you about Ms. Dunbar. She has lived in North Augusta for 30 years. She has been worked as a poll manager for 20 years in the city of North Augusta. And she said, I'm interested in volunteering on the Municipal Election Commission. That time, we did not have an opening. I kept this, and when the opening came up, I reached out to her, and you know what I love about Ms. Dunbar, she says, she is a graduate of Leadership North Augusta. Okay, which is awesome. She says, this is awesome, I love this. One of the visions of Leadership North Augusta is to cultivate engaged leaders to support and strengthen our community. That's exactly, Ms. Dunbar, what we're trying to do. We are trying to put folks who say, hey, I want to be involved, that have never served, to get them excited. We don't want to just reappoint people for 30 years. We've done that for too long. Okay, so I'm so excited about Ms. Dunbar willing to step in, and you got work to do right off. We got a city election coming. So get your tennis shoes on, you're going to be busy. But anyway, so Ms. Dunbar, thank you very much for wanting to serve. Okay, that's great. And the second position is we'll be appointing Chelsea Waddell. She will be taking Ms. Joanne Mackey, who resigned last year from the Planning Commission. And Chelsea is a neat young lady. She's University of Georgia graduate, David, as you know, in both biology and Spanish arts in Spanish. She got her MBA at Moore School of Business at Carolina, Business Administration, Master of Business Administration. She opened the UPS store in downtown North Augusta in October 2020. She also manages a lot of commercial property, and I believe when I talked to her, she was close to getting ready to take the test to get her commercial contract license, which will be very beneficial. So I think Chelsea brings a lot to the Planning Commission. I'm really excited about that. And kind of like Ms. Dunbar, what I like about Chelsea is she wants to be involved. You know, she has a vested interest. Not only does she live in North Augusta, her business is in North Augusta, and I think her background will make her very valuable. So Chelsea, stand up so everybody can see you. All right, thank you, Chelsea. So with that, I'd like to ask a motion to approve the listed appointments and reappointments for what I've just listed on boards and commissions.
So moved.
Okay, Ms. McCauley is the first, second, Mr. Presnell. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank y'all. Appreciate it. Very good. Okay, item 8, Planning and Development, Resolution number 2023-01, accepting a deed of dedication for open space located in Wando Woodlawns. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
All right. Who's Toole. That your Jamaica accent got me. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. McCauley. Anything you'd like to share about this, Mr. Clifford?
Mr. Mayor, I would say that this is a routine action with accepting a deed. In regards to Wanda Woodlands, we've had multiple phases of Wanda Woodlands, and typically what you run into is as they finish a phase or go through a phase, they have green space associated that they don't build on, and then deed that property over to the city. And that's what we have here before you today. So as we discussed in the study session, staff recommendation would be to accept this deed of dedication.
Are there any citizen comments? Okay, any council discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. Item 9, Public Service, Resolution Number 2023-02, authorizing a purchasing agreement with Blanchard Machinery to purchase a 2023 wheel loader. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Ms. Carpenter, a second?
Second.
Ms. McCauley, thank you. Anything you'd like to share about this, Mr. Clifford?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Again, for the council's reminder, what we're asking to do is move forward on purchasing this wheel loader, and the majority of the funding for this is going to come out of the insurance settlement money we had for the facility. So ultimately, I think this is a good cost savings measure for us for not having to put this device on a lease purchase agreement. So we'll save the interest costs associated with that. And this is a needed piece of equipment for James's operation. So our recommendation is to proceed.
Okay, very good. Are there any citizen comments? All right, any council discussion? Okay, hear none. I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay. Any administrative reports, Mr. Clifford?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, item 11 is presentation, communications, recognition of visitors. This is the time if citizens want to speak to mayor and council about anything not on the agenda. So we just had the public power hour, but there may be somebody that does want to. So is there anybody that would like to come down and speak to council about anything not on the agenda that we just passed or we just went through? Okay. So at this point, let me read this to you. And council, we are going to take two separate votes here, okay? In compliance with Section 30-4-70A5, the city administrator requests an executive session for the purpose of discussion of matters relating to the proposed location, expansion, or the provision of services encouraging location or expansion of industries or other business in the area served by the public body. Discussion specifically related to the master development agreement for Riverside Village. Council will not be taking any action when we return back to open session. Will not take any action on matters discussed in executive session. So do I have a motion to go in executive session?
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Toole, is there a second? All right, Mr. McGee, all in favor? That is unanimous. And then our second executive session, in compliance with Section 30-4-70A2, the city attorney requests an executive session for the purpose of discussion of negotiations incident to proposed contractual arrangements and proposed sale or purchase of property, the receipt of legal advice where the legal advice relates to a pending, threatened, or potential claim or other matters covered by the attorney-client privilege, settlement of legal claims or the position of the public agency and other adversary situations involving the assertion against the agency of a claim. Discussion specifically related to the master development agreement for Riverside Village. Do I have a motion to go into this executive session? Okay, I think that was Mr. Carpenter and Mr. Brooks second. I'll ask for vote. All in favor? Okay, very good. We will not be coming back, so thank you all for being here. We stand adjourned.